So this has been an awesome series so far, and a fantastic, brilliant evening of casting. I've seen some incredible games, and hopefully haven't slaughtered them too badly. Gotta point out that in the previous game, I did make a bit of a slip up, didn't notice the hidden base by the Protoss player to the bottom right, although it wasn't really a huge influencing factor. So, spawning up in the top left-hand position as the blue Protoss. 1-0 up in this best of 3. It's Patience. To the top right, the red Terran. Needing to win this game to avoid going into the decider match. It's GoOdy, who's opening gas before racks. GoOdy in the last game went for something that was slightly unorthodox in the matchup. He went mech, not something that is often seen in TVP, and unfortunately didn't work out. Patience just maintained great map control with some blink stalkers early on, and out expanded his opponent and just had more stuff. Eventually it was a base race, but it was one where just through the defensive position, GoOdy was unable to break it. Patience had too many units out to defend while still slaughtering everything that GoOdy had in his own base, and took out the army. And once your army is dead in a base trade, you're not going to win that base trade. Both players being relatively cautious here. Of course, the gas first from GoOdy suggests it's going to be a fast factory out of him, but a scout immediately from Patience, getting lucky on that scouting position, sees what's coming. He'll almost certainly click on this refinery. We'll see how much has been mined. We'll know that, okay, a factory's coming out early. This was a gas first build, and confirms it with the factory there. Meanwhile, GoOdy coming to scout up to the top left, and he's not going to see anything that interesting. Patience, he's sitting here, he's saying, okay, I've got my cyber core up, and really everything is going the way I'd want. Patience has 2 gases out, so it is going to be quite tech heavy from him as well, but it shouldn't be too terrifying. GoOdy will know that this is a good response. Patience though, going to be proxying something. Pylon comes down, this could be a proxy Stargate, which would be a great response. Could also be a lot of other things coming through as well, such as a proxy Twilight Council is possible, which will either lead into Blink or a Dark Shrine. Proxying them just means it's slightly harder to spot it, but with the gases I'm expecting a Stargate, it's more likely, and we'll find out for sure in a few short seconds once Patience hits that 150 Vespian mark. GoOdy expanding behind this, but he's going to be contending with that Stargate. For the moment, just the one Hellion making it out onto the field. Actually, this one Hellion could be a little bit annoying. More importantly though, the Widow Mine. The reason the Widow Mine is important is if this is an Oracle, which I really expect it to be, then Widow Mines are fantastic to defend against them. So, Hellion getting a little bit of damage down, couple of worker kills, but with 2 stalkers on the field, it's going to be enough to shut it out. In total, 2 workers die, nothing tragic, but still a bit of damage done. Patience, at risk of losing this mothership core, it is going to go down, not even attempting to move it away, just utilizing that time warp. It could survive for a brief second, but no, didn't think it was going to. 13 HP there, but enough to make me nervous and hedge my bets. Oracle, Voidway on the way out. This is not something that you usually see either. Generally speaking, a proxy is always going to go for an Oracle. So the Voidway, less common. Second one following it up. And going to be getting some good information. Just to try and poke and prod. The Stalkers, certainly going to help that Voidway. The Bunker, a bit of a problem, but nothing that can't be contended with. The Voidways, with of course prismatic alignment, grant a lot of damage, but they also grant the high ground vision for these Stalkers, so they can start picking away. Big SCV pool, ready to try and contend with this, but a supply depot falls, supply blocking GoOdy, and there's not another supply depot in construction yet. A Widow Mine seemed to be burrowing. Widow Mine's very effective against Stalkers and Void Rays. They'll one-shot the Stalkers, and they should one-shot the Void Ray as well, I think. May not actually. But either way, a lot of damage done. Patience hasn't expanded yet. Added in some additional gateways, so he's only on the one base. The two Void Rays looking to get some more damage down. There is a Widow Mine at the natural base. But depending on how far forward these Void Rays go, may not actually get the hit. Should now get in and get great amounts of splashdown too. But only knocks off about half the HP of the Void Rays. They don't need to be terrified. GoOdy retreating away from his natural base is again getting contained early on. Oracle being used for its detection to make sure there aren't any Widow Mines around here that could be too detrimental. And yeah, the double bunker gonna act as a good deterrent for now. Oracle moving over, 60 seconds of detection granted by that. Widow Mine trying to hightail it out of there so it doesn't die. But the important thing is the Void Rays now get free reign to this natural base. If Marines get pulled back to defend, the gateway units are going to look to try and move up here, but with a tank and now a Widow Mine there as well. Plus, obviously a decent number of units. Actually, Patience can't move up that ramp, even if there was a decent number of units pulled back to defend this. The Viking, dancing with death with these Void Rays. If they are able to get some damage down, it'll be big against the Viking being armoured, but just managing to force it back for the moment. Missile Turret also on its way. The potential of things like Dark Templar, pretty scary. Also, just to prevent any observers getting in a good position, which would grant detection and would allow the Widow Mine to get taken down. So, Patience is still on one base. He is committing ridiculously to this pressure. And GoOdy, the longer this game goes on, gets into a much better spot. He's at 31 SCVs compared to 24 probes. And Patience has to probably win the game when he moves in now. Otherwise, he's in some big problems. Baited forward there. The Vikings getting some great shots off, and this may be the trigger that leaves Patience no choice but to go. The bunkers holding strong. The Widow Mine got a nice hit off. The Void Rays all dying. And still a bunker remains after the first falls. Stalkers coming up into the high ground, trying to snipe off the tanks, but there's not that many Stalkers here. Second tank is going to die. The Stalkers managing to make their way through, picking apart the SCVs, preventing additional production facilities on their way through. And more warpins coming for Patience. He's drawn all of these Marines away. But the Stalkers gonna fall. The Vikings landed just to aid with a bit more damage. And yeah, this spells the end to the push. A couple of Stalkers and Zealots getting some nice damage down. And GoOdy's SCV count is very low. But he's still got those two orbital commands. If GoOdy can shut down these remaining gateway units, he's in a nice spot. Or at least a level spot. But he's got a lot of work for him to do that. These Stalkers dealing some nice damage. That Widow Mine hit cuts out 25% of the Stalkers. And it looks like GoOdy is going to be able to stop most of this. He can now utilize the Mule Hammer in order to level out this income. The only thing GoOdy doesn't know, unfortunately, is whether or not his opponent has a natural base, but should be able to deduce by the fact that there's been so much pressure and so much production that there couldn't be a second Nexus out here. So down goes that Stalker, and Patience GG's out. GoOdy levels this series to be 1-1, and we're going to get the ace game.